Parasocial relationships. It's been something I've looked into recently that kind of caught my attention. And as a content creator, this is something that's very personal to me, something I kind of worry about. That I myself am, or should I say, many people out there are in a parasocial relationship with me. Because of the virtue of what a parasocial relationship is, and I guess I'll give you a bit of a hint now. If you've ever heard of it, go watch some YouTube videos on it. But it's this idea that people know everything about me, and they have this image of who I am that they've seen through my videos, and they build this profile of who I am, and they become attached to it. And it's not necessarily that they fall in love with me or think they're married to me or pretend anything like that. That's like stalker stuff, and that happens, you know, whatever. But I'm talking about, like, I'm like a friend to them. Like, they know me. And when they listen to me speak, it's like I'm sat in the room with them, talking with them. And I get that. And that, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with having that. But it's being described as a problem is that this is in place of real life friendships. Because the sad thing is, you may know who I am and feel you have this connection to me, but I don't know you. I don't even know you exist. And when you really get down to, and I'm just using me as an example because I have a big platform, but this is happening a lot with many. What you find is that bad people have noticed this and have decided to use that desperation people have and loneliness people have for capital gain. Again, they're playing on the parasocial relationship as a method of getting people to send them money, you know, and it's just becoming this really weird point in modernity where people are lonely. And if you look at the root cause of how this is happening and why this is happening, it's because people have been forced to be isolated from one another in many ways. And what it fundamentally comes down to is nobody has any money. Young people don't have anything or anybody around them. They can't go out and socialize and have real relationships because they can't afford to. That's really what it comes down to when you get to the root of the problem. It's simple. It's not like a mystery when you really think about it. There's a reason why nobody's having sex and nobody's making relationships or starting families or going out drinking, or the bars are all shutting down and the clubs are all shutting down because no one's going to them, and no one's socializing anymore, and everyone's just got the Netflix subscription or the YouTube channel, and they just sit there and listen to people talk for hours in the evening while eating their noodles or something alone in front of the screen at night time and sat up in their studio apartment in bed because everyone's broke. Nobody can have friends or afford it anymore. And I guess I'm going to make a separate video on this, you know, for the main channel when I get enough time to do a random rumination. But that's something I'm just thinking about right now and trying to grapple with. And I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to say about it on the main video. Because I said a lot of stuff there, but there's no like core theme behind it or kind of driving like point. I'm just saying all this stuff that I've noticed, that I've just learned about, which is worrying. It is in many ways. I want to find solutions for this, and I want to talk to my own audiences who may be starting to have that kind of relationship with me, to I suppose not in a sense, or to encourage, or to at least understand there's a separation here. And I don't want people to have illusions to think I'm trying to use them in any way. I'm literally just the guy sat in my office who talks too much, and that's it. I would be doing this if nobody was listening. I would still be doing this. Because I have to. It's just the way I work, and I'm not trying to lead people on or something. And one problem of the parasocial relationship concept is that if the person who people are in this relationship with, from their perspective, if the person they follow does something that's out of character or makes a mistake, the people react irrationally, and it can turn violent and it can become ridiculous. And people can have heartbreak, genuine heartbreak. I just didn't think he was like that. I didn't think he was that kind of person, and genuinely cry and lose themselves over this thing that happened with a stranger who doesn't even know they exist. And this is where it's getting into the realms of psychopathy and delusion, and not in like the evil psychopathy, but more like it's what do you call it? Pathological. It's a psychological schism. It's an issue that needs to be addressed rather than just ignored. Like, there's an issue here, there's a problem, isn't there? It's poorly defined right now, you know. It's poorly defined in my head, which is why I'm doing it on this channel now, to try and figure it out. What the hell am I even trying to say? You know? On the main channel I'll make a more coherent, maybe write some bullet points down to hit upon and some points I want to make. But right now, I'm just trying to, yeah, I'm hashing out. What do you guys think? Well, I've got a small little, you're like my think tank group, the ones who bothered to come to the other channel to listen to this. Like, what do you think, like, of that concept and the idea? Do you think there's something in particular I need to mention? And there's another thing here that I know I forgot about this point. Oh, that's it. Celebrity culture is a good example of this. This is already something we understand, that a lot of people get obsessed over celebrities. It borderlines this it's to fill a void in their life, isn't it, of loneliness. But again, celebrities don't know you exist, yet you will cry when they die as though they were your father or your best friend or your brother or your lover. They have these visceral bodily reactions to idols that they've never met and didn't actually know. And I think that phenomena ties in with the parasocial relationships. Like when recently that artist died, didn't he? I can't remember his name now, with the stupid bowl cut haircut, whatever. And everyone's like, oh no, this is terrible. He was a voice of a generation. He was the greatest musician to ever exist. I'm heartbroken over this and blah, blah, blah. They killed him because he was talking about the polar ice caps or something. And it's kind of like, I've never heard of the guy until now. But the way everyone's talking about him, it's like he was the most famous human to ever exist. And of course, everybody knows who this person is. And that's how it always goes whenever like some celebrity dies. There's this veneration of them as a ascending, like the apotheosis of the current thing, actor or musician death. And they get ascended to godhood in the minds of the collective consciousness of the zeitgeist of humanity. It's like, they were just a fucking musician. And the music was shit. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, David Bowie was not that good. But he is like a legend through time from now on, you know, and it's because of the parasocial stuff. The people, like, even now, people still, like Michael Jackson, change their entire life to be him, to become him. They get plastic surgery to look like him, and they learn all of his dance moves and dress like him, and they have given over their entire identity as an individual to copy and become this other dead person who never knew them and won't appreciate it or care. You know, it's a symptom of something, isn't it? This is a symptom of some kind of sickness within man. And maybe that's a bit extreme. Maybe that language is extreme. I don't know. This is why I'm testing it here first. What am I trying to say? Oliver Tree, Nefhunt. Yeah, that was the artist's name. Yeah, Oliver Tree, thanks. I've never understood it. I've never understood it. I talk about Michael Jackson as well, because I remember when I was told. Okay, at the time I was 17. And I had this girlfriend. It didn't last very long. I think I was with her for like 5 months or something at the time. And I remember I was staying at her house in Halifax, I think it was. At her father's house in Halifax. And she was like estranged from her father. So it was some kind of weird visit. And I was just there. And I remember I was smoking a cigarette out the window. And she's on a phone. And she like tells me, Michael Jackson's dead. And she has this like, I can't believe Michael Jackson's dead. And she's like getting this emotional reaction. I'm there 17, smoking this roll up out the window. I'm like, so what? You didn't know him. Like, you didn't know him. You didn't know the guy. Why does it matter to you? Like, and it was me. I've always been like this. It's just me as a teenager, looking to this person, acting like they were the friend. It's like, I've never heard you listen to a Michael Jackson song in my entire life. And besides, you never met the guy. Why are you even bothered or upset? Like, he literally is nothing to you. It has nothing to do with your life whatsoever. He doesn't deserve that kind of emotional reaction from you. That's the kind of emotional reaction you reserve as an individual for when your father or mother dies, or someone you actually knew in your life who loved you and had an impact in your life and lived with you dies. That's when you should reserve that kind of reaction. Not parasocially to some stranger who you know nothing about. And this is idol worship. This is really the problem with idol worship, isn't it? This is one of the ghastly issues with it. It's that expended emotional energy on a stranger that meant nothing to you. Like, yes, it's sad when somebody dies. Okay, and there's an appropriate reaction for when you hear the news of people dying who you don't know. and it's solemn. That's awful, you know, and you reflect on it. But there's only so much you can really feel because you don't know them intimately, realistically, you know. And I think maybe this is a product of this whole lovey-dovey left-wing modernity issue. It's a display, isn't it? It's a virtue signal of, oh, I care about strangers dying. Like, I'm so virtuous. Look at me put on this emotional display and put up the posts on the public platforms about what an amazing person they were, writing eulogies for people I never knew because I care so much when people die. It's a virtue signal. It's fake. It's all vanity, isn't it? It's just vanity after vanity. And I don't know, it's always been abhorrent to my spirit. Like, I can't, something about it. You can hear it, I'm riled up now. It gets me angry. And I don't know why. Maybe I'm probably the problem here when I'm thinking about it. Like, it's something wrong with me. Maybe it's because I've had death in the family a lot. Like, young people. Yeah, I felt real pain, people dying who I know, who are close to me. After feeling that real sadness and pain at the loss of a loved one in such a heinous, traumatic way, suicide, you see people when they do this trivial show for people they didn't know as an offense. It's offensive. You know what I mean? That's what it gets down to, is you don't even know what it means to lose somebody. There's just something abhorrent to it. I can't stomach it. It's just me. It's just me.